UX doesn't solely belong to designers. If you were at my talk at QSR Summit 26 by Industry Now last week, you heard me open with this line. If you lead a restaurant brand, you're a UX designer. Maybe you've never thought of yourself that way, but every decision you make shapes how guests experience your brand. This isn't something to fear at all. In practice, UX design principles are rather simple. Let me give you an example. I came across this photo on LinkedIn. An elderly man with dementia was struggling to use his TV remote effectively. His granddaughter didn't redesign the electronics. She didn't buy a new remote. She didn't make sure that someone was next to him to use the remote on his behalf. Instead, she observed. She grabbed sticky notes, tape, and a marker, and she covered all the buttons he didn't need or use. She cut out holes for the ones that mattered and labeled them clearly. That's it. No technology, no AI, just observation, identifying the problems, and solutioning. She watched where he struggled and removed the friction. That's user experience in its purest form. Now think about your restaurant brand. How many places are guests getting stuck? Is the menu overwhelming? Can they tell where to order? Does your app make ordering easier or harder? Does your website load so slow that people get frustrated and go away? Can someone find the pickup shelf without asking an employee? Do they know where the line starts? These aren't operational problems alone. At their root and core, they are user experience problems. And if you lead a multi-unit restaurant brand, designing that experience is your job, and it's the biggest opportunity to get wins. Not just inside one restaurant, but across 50, hundreds, even 1,000. The best restaurant leaders don't just build the operations. They build experiences that feel obvious, that kill the friction, that make it so simple that there's no anxiety across digital and on-premise, of course, and everywhere in between. Because every point of friction costs time. Every moment of confusion loses trust. And every unnecessary step costs sales. The granddaughter of this gentleman didn't start by asking, how do I redesign this remote? How do I learn electronics and solder it together and yada yada? Instead, she started by asking the simple question, where is he getting stuck? What's confusing? Where are there superfluous things that he doesn't need? Restaurant leaders should ask the same question because your guests are telling you where the friction is every single day. You just have to pay attention. And once you start seeing those, you can start to understand how even minor tweaks to design, traffic flow, menu content, you can see how those fixes can incrementally lift sales, sentiment, and every other metric that matters. We are in the business of making sure that we are super easy to buy from. And yet, to date, so many restaurants spend more time stopping the spinning plate or putting out the fire and only moving on to the next one, taking the easiest path. The easiest path for this person would have been buying a new remote, but it would have perpetuated the problem or caused new problems. The fact is, by identifying where the friction was and identifying his core needs, she was able to she was able to take a very rudimentary approach to solving the problem so he didn't have to deal with it. That's the beauty of UX. And when you start to look at this world and your digital experience and your restaurant's experience through the lens of anti-friction and the same way she looked at that remote, you're going to end up in a much better spot. As always, I'd love to hear your thoughts, and I'd love to hear if you have identified small little moments that helped increase guest sentiment or sales just by a little tweak, by understanding where the friction was. I'd love to know more, and I'd love to have a good dialogue here. So do put it in the comments, but also please like and subscribe. If you are going to comment, make it over 6 words long. That actually helps. And that helps get this in front of more and more people as their algorithm takes hold. So I appreciate that in advance. Until next time, cheers.